Stop wearing high heels if you want to be treated like an equal. Sounds crazy, right? But there's actual science behind why men lose their minds when they see a woman in heels. And what I'm about to tell you might completely change how you think about this whole thing. Look, I know what you're thinking. Another video about high heels and attraction. That this isn't about shallow fashion advice. We're going deep into psychology, biology, and history to understand why something as simple as a shoe can have such a powerful effect on the human brain. By the end of this video, you'll see high heels in a completely different light. Walk into any upscale restaurant, event, or nightclub, and you'll notice something. Women in heels get a different kind of attention. It's not just about looking taller or dressier. There's something deeper going on, something most people can't quite explain. I'm not saying women wear heels for attention. That's not the point. What I'm saying is there's a genuine psychological phenomenon happening here that affects how humans perceive each other, and it's way more complex than you think. We live in a world where we pretend everything is just fashion and personal choice, but we ignore the deeper reasons why certain things attract us. And high heels? They're one of the most misunderstood pieces of clothing in existence. Let's start with the obvious. High heels make women taller. That's basic, right? That height has always been associated with power and status. Taller people are statistically more likely to be hired, make more money, and be seen as more competent. So when a woman puts on heels, she's literally elevating herself, changing the power dynamic of every interaction. And men notice, even subconsciously, that that's just the beginning. The real magic of high heels isn't about height at all. When you wear heels, your entire body changes. Your back arches. Your chest comes forward. Your hips tilt. Your legs straighten. It's like your body is being sculpted into a different shape. And this shape hits every biological trigger that evolution has programmed into the brain. When a woman's posture changes in heels, it exaggerates what biologists call secondary sexual characteristics. The curve of the spine becomes more pronounced. The leg muscles flex. The stride becomes shorter and more deliberate. There was actually a study in France where researchers had women walk past men in both heels and flats. They measured how often men approached these women. The difference was massive. When women wore heels, men were significantly more likely to start a conversation or show interest. The only difference was the shoes. When you walk in heels, you can't move the same way you do in sneakers. Your stride shortens, your hips sway, your center of gravity shifts. This creates what researchers call a biomechanical gait pattern the brain finds appealing. Why? Because it signals confidence and mastery. Walking in heels is hard. It takes balance and skill. When a woman walks confidently in heels, she's showing competence. But there's also something vulnerable about it. She's less stable, can't run as fast. And this mix of confidence and vulnerability creates a tension that's magnetic. Psychologically, high heels trigger what's called embodied cognition. The idea that how we move affects how we think and how others see us. Studies show women in heels report feeling more confident, more powerful, and more attractive. The act of wearing heels literally changes their mindset. And men pick up on this confidence, not the heels themselves, but the energy they project. High heels weren't always about attraction. They were originally worn by men. Persian cavalry soldiers used them for riding. European aristocrats later adopted them as a status symbol. Both men and women wore them to show wealth and privilege. It wasn't until later that heels became associated with femininity. By the 20th century, heels symbolized both empowerment and oppression. Some saw them as restrictive, others as powerful. The truth is somewhere in between. Heels are a choice, and different women wear them for different reasons. But their effect? That's universal. There's also something called the red sneaker effect. It's a psychology principle that says breaking norms in small, confident ways makes people perceive you as higher status. When everyone expects flats and you show up in heels, you're signaling confidence that you set your own rules. Heels say, "I'm not here for comfort. I'm here to make a statement." High heels also elongate the legs, and longer legs have been linked with attractiveness across almost every culture. Heels create that illusion instantly. When you wear them, your ankle flexes, your calf tightens, and the line of your leg draws the eye naturally upward. Fashion photographers know this. It's why models wear heels or point their toes in shoots. The human eye follows those lines automatically. And then there's the sound. That distinct click-clack of heels on the floor. That sound alone signals presence, confidence, and femininity. In movies, when you hear that sound, you know someone powerful is walking in. Studies show people associate the sound of heels with success and attractiveness, even when they don't see the person. It's pure conditioning. We've been trained by the media to link that sound to authority and allure. None of this means women should or shouldn't wear heels. That's personal. But the psychology behind them is fascinating. Most men can't explain why they find heels attractive. They just do. Most women don't wear them thinking about evolution or posture. They wear them because of how they feel. But the effect is real. In experiments, when men rated pictures of women's legs in heels versus flats, the ones in heels consistently scored higher in attractiveness, even when the shoes were cropped out. The change in muscle tone alone made the difference. Heels also create what's called objectification through elevation. By making someone taller, you literally put them on a pedestal. That's powerful but double-edged. You're elevated, admired, but also on display. This triggers what psychologists call the male gaze, the tendency to view women as visual objects. But here's the twist. Many women use heels to control that gaze. They turn it into power. It's not submission, it's strategy. Fashion and media reinforce this constantly. From billboards to movies, we're bombarded with images of women in heels. Psychologists call this the mere exposure effect. The more we see something, the more we like it. We've seen heels so often that they've become the visual standard for formal femininity. Men internalize it too. When they see a woman in heels, their brains read it as effort, status, and intention. Humans are wired to respond positively to effort. It signals care and confidence. Heels also slow you down. They make you less mobile, which unconsciously signals that you're more approachable or socially available. If you're in sneakers, you look like you're in a hurry. In heels, you look like you're present, ready to engage. That subtle difference can change how people interact with you. Finally, heels signal luxury and class. They're expensive, impractical, and purely aesthetic, which makes them a quiet symbol of status. Throughout history, impractical clothing has always been a sign of wealth. Corsets, long gowns, elaborate hairstyles, they all said, "I don't do manual labor." Heels say the same thing. I can afford to be uncomfortable.